Reddit is a goldmine for traffic and engagement, but manually commenting is slow and exhausting. But what if I told you that you could generate laser-targeted Reddit comments using N8N without spending hours digging through posts and writing the comments yourself? That's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. How to build your own Reddit comment generator that sounds like you in N8N so that you can scale engagement while staying authentic. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First, we'll start with a general overview of the workflow that we're going to be building today. Then I'll show you guys how to connect all the services that we used in order to make this happen. And finally, we will build the workflow together, you and I, so that you guys know exactly how to build it. Of course, if you want to skip all that and you just want to get to the juicy part, I do have the workflow down below in my blog that you guys can download and any related links, so be sure to check that out. So the idea here is we follow a bunch of different subreddits in our account, and we want to find all of the interesting posts within those subreddits that we could reply to. Now, not all posts in all subreddits are going to be good posts to reply to, so we need some way to filter out bad posts, and we don't want the responses to sound like a generic AI. We want it to sound like us and use our voice, so we need to train the AI on what we sound like using our knowledge in order for the AI to give constructive responses that sound and are authentic to your voice. After generating the comments, of course, we need to post them. There are some automated ways to post comments on Reddit. I didn't use any of those because I would like to review the comments before I actually post them. However, the AI is coming out with some really good responses that I would have written it that way anyway, so I don't usually have to change the comments very much. In order to manage these comments, I built out a quick dashboard using Lovable and Cursor. I'm not going to show you guys how to build that in this video, but if you guys want to see that, you can leave a comment down below and I will show you in a future video. Now, you don't have to use a dashboard to manage these comments. You could use Airtable or Notion or Google Sheets even. I just like to be a little bit more organized. So let's jump into building. Let's get all the credentials that we need connected right now. Let's connect Reddit. Go ahead and go to reddit.com/prefs/apps. Next, click create an app. Let's give it a name. We're going to call it web app, and we're going to add our redirect URI. In order to do that, hop over to N8N. Let's add a Reddit node, and let's create a new credential. Let's copy the OAuth redirect URI, jump back over to Reddit, paste that in, click that you're not a robot, and create the app. Now, it should give you a secret and a web app ID. Go ahead and put the ID and the secret right here. Then click connect your account. You're going to have to click allow and you are good to go. Here is how to connect Pinecone. Go ahead and log into Pinecone. Then go over here to the left and click API keys. Then let's click create API key. Let's give it a name. Click create key. It's going to give us this beautiful key. You can copy it. Go over to N8N. Make a Pinecone node. Go ahead and create a new credential and paste in the API key and click save. And you're good to go. Here's how to connect Postgres. Now, if you don't want to use Postgres, that's fine. At this point, you would connect Google Sheets, Airtable, or whatever it is you want. I am using Supabase for my Postgres account. So go ahead and log in. Click connect up here at the top. Scroll down to transaction pooler and let's view the parameters. Now we've got the host, port, database, user here. I want you to copy all those. Go over to N8N, create a Postgres node, create a new credential, and paste all of those in. Now, once all those are pasted in, make sure SSL is on disable and put your database password. Now, this is the password if you're using Supabase that you set when you created the account. And of course, if you want to reset it, you can just go to settings, database, click reset database password. Once you're done with that, click connect and you should be good to go. Now we need to connect ChatGPT. So go ahead and go to platform.openai.com/API-keys. Link is in the description below and click create new secret key. Give it a name and click create key and go ahead and copy that. Let's go back over to N8N. Let's create an AI node and click plus on the chat model. Let's click open AI. Click here, click create new credential. Let's paste the API key in and click save. And you're good to go. Let's connect Claude. So go ahead and go to console.anthropic.com/settings/keys. Link is in the description below. And click create key. Call it whatever you want. Click add and copy that key. Go back over to N8N. Let's add an AI agent node, jump out of it, and where it says chat model right here, click Anthropic, click here, click create new credential, paste your API key, click save, and we're good to go. All right, so here's a quick overview of the workflow, and then we're gonna dive into the building blocks. First, we're gonna run this workflow every couple of hours. I've got it set to every 6 hours. Next, we need to get all of the subreddits on the account. Right here, I'm just filtering them by name. And then, based on the subreddits, we're going to grab the last 50 posts posted within the last day on the Reddit. And here we're formatting the data that we want: the subreddit title, text, the author, and the link to the post. Then we're going to filter all the posts by the last 12 hours. We're going to check to see if they exist already in our database. And if they don't, we're going to check to see if the post is good. Now, if it's a good post, we're going to add it to the database, and if it's a bad post, we're also going to add it to the database. Difference is we're going to say the post is good or not. Now I have that right here in the Supabase. Any posts that are bad will be marked as false, and we don't need to make responses for them. Why would we spend money on that? We're not going to reply to them. Then here we're grabbing a list of all the videos on my account. We're doing this so that we can share video tutorials to recommend to people based on their questions. Being said, you guys probably won't have that step, so you can skip that. And then we create the post reply. Now, this AI that I made a huge knowledge base. It's actually 2 different vector storages, and it's also connected to the internet. It's got a lot of really cool stuff to make it sound like me. So this will actually create the reply. If it fails to create the reply after 3 tries, it will just update the post and saying it's a bad post. We're just going to skip it. There's so many posts that go through. We don't need to respond to every single one. But if it updates it well, it'll update the Supabase with the new post reply text so that we can use it later. Now the Reddit MCP node looks like this. We have an MCP server here. We have all of the video transcripts of every video ever made on my YouTube account. Now this is so that the AI knows how I talk and it responds like me, and it can reference different videos that I have based on the transcript to help people out. Now this right here is a history of me. I pulled all the podcasts that I was a guest on. I also made a huge document of all of my portfolio projects and my experience in history, me talking to the camera for about an hour. I took that transcript, I loaded that into Pinecone, so again it has my entire history of me, all the experience of the things I've done, and the way that I talk and my voice right there in the history. And then we also gave it access to search the web to get any answers that it may need using Zenrose. And in order to put any data into the Pinecone, I went ahead and used our Pinecone vector store. Now I have a tutorial on this already. This basically you can hook up to anything you want to import any data that you want. Right here what we're doing is every couple of days I update a database with all my YouTube analytics. That includes any new videos posted, which will update new transcripts and videos to the Pinecone storage and to my database. That being said, I'll show you guys how to import knowledge into the Pinecone storage so that you guys can make one that sounds like you and you guys can use it to generate amazing comments. Now the first thing we have to do is create our AI knowledge base so that our AI can have a really good brain and respond like we do. So this is going to look a little bit different for all of you, but I'm going to give you the base building blocks for that right now. Basically all you're looking at is this. So we can just add a Pinecone vector store just like that and click add documents to vector store. Next we can add embeddings OpenAI. We can use text embedding 3 small, that's totally fine. We can put the default data loader and we can add our token splitter. Now our token splitter settings are going to be a chunk size of 500 and a chunk overlap of 100. That seems to work really well for while it returns data, okay? Now we can load whatever data we want to into this, but first we have to connect it to Pinecone. So let's go over to Pinecone. Let's create a new index here, and we're going to scroll down and we're going to use again the OpenAI text embedding 3 small. Same one, right? And the rest of this is good. We can just give it a name and click create index. Now I've already done this. Once you've created the index, you can then choose the one you're using from the list. And it's good to go. Now you can start loading it with data. Now, you can load it with text files, you can load it with transcripts, you can talk to a voice note and have it be transcribed and load it all up. There are 1,000 things you can load it up here with, but essentially you want to pass data from somewhere into the Pinecone. So from here we just basically made a form that we would upload files to, and it would pass directly to the Pinecone. Simple enough, right? Here above, all I'm doing is every time that I post a YouTube video, it gets added to my database for other reasons, doesn't matter. And then the transcript of that video gets added to the Pinecone vector store so that as I post more videos, the AI gets smarter and smarter. Now, you guys don't necessarily have to go that far, but it is a good idea to train your Pinecone as much as possible with knowledge base from your real history and the way you actually talk and write. Now that we have our knowledge base, we have to make a MCP server. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be an MCP server, but it's cool and it's new and I like it, so we're going to be working with an MCP server today. So on the left side, we have our video transcripts Pinecone, okay? On the right side, we have the history of me and everything about me and the projects I've done Pinecone, right? So these are two different knowledge bases that I created. And all you have to do is click the plus, go ahead and type in Pinecone, click Pinecone Vector Store, and then retrieve documents. We're going to give it a name. Now this is the name of the tool that you're going to use later in your prompting, so remember this. Give it a description, again this is important, and then choose the Pinecone that you're currently using, right? So since I've already done that over here, we can see that this is grabbing video transcripts, and the description is this is a database of transcripts from Austin's previous videos, cover N8N Python, automation, and other types of tutorials. And I'm grabbing it from the knowledge base, okay? This is a different Pinecone account that I connected, but yeah. Then just add embeddings. Make sure the embeddings is the text embedding 3 small or large, depending on what you use. I used large on this one. I believe I used small on this one. There's a reason for that, but I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Now, of course, this one has a different name. It's called Austin History, right? And it has a quick description. And then I gave it a third tool, which is an HTTP node, right? HTTP request node. And I gave it Zenrose. Now this could be SERP API, it could be a lot of things. You don't actually have to give it this tool, but I just said when you want to browse the site, respond with action, scrape URL, comma, URL, and then bam. And then I put a get method, api.zenrose.com v1. Okay, and I put URL, and under the parameters, I said it has to be defined automatically by the model, right? The API key, JS render true, auto parse true, premium proxy true. Now, these are all settings for Zenrose. Again, you can use whatever service you want. I just wanted a really good tool called browse_web that the AI could use to gather more information if it needs to. If you're learning N8N and would like a little bit of help, I'm hosting a free community to help you guys out. There we have challenges to earn some real cash money. I also answer any question that gets posted in the group. So if that's something you're interested in, please check out the link down below. So now we can jump into the juicy part, okay? Now we're jumping into the Reddit. Now, we're starting here with the schedule trigger. Now, this runs every 6 hours. It's fine. Nothing cool here, okay? Nothing really cool here. What's really cool, though, is the next node, the HTTP node. Now, I used the credentials that we connected earlier. All I did was I selected predefined credential type. I scrolled all the way down until I found Reddit, and then I selected the account that I already connected, okay? Now, the URL I'm using is oauth.reddit.com/subreddits/mine/subscriber. Okay, and there's nothing else here. So all this does is if we test this, it'll give all the subreddits that my account is subscribed to. And there's a bunch of information there that we don't want, right? So because of that, I did a code node right after that literally just returns the display names of the different Reddits that I have. So now we have 25 items of the different subreddits that I'm currently following. Then I did a loop over items. I put it as a batch size of 1 because Reddit does have API rate limits, so I don't want to push those limits. I put a wait here so to make sure. Every 2 seconds, I grab the top 100 posts from Reddit. So if we double click here, this is just a Reddit node. We connect our Reddit account with posts. We're getting many, and from the subreddit that we grabbed before, so we just passed this name right here into it, and it will grab the last 100 posts, right? And here, all we're doing is grabbing the fields that we want because it comes with a bunch of fields that we don't need. So we're just grabbing the subreddit, the title, the link to the post, the author of the post, when it was created, and the post content. Okay, and that formats it really good. So let's go ahead and test that up to here and see what that looks like. I'm actually going to limit this real quick so that we don't have too many results coming through. So now we have 100 items coming out, and as you can see, we have 100 posts coming with title, author, post content. Some of them have post content, some of them don't. In Reddit, you can post things with just the title. It's rather interesting. And then we're going to pass it over to filter, and this is going to filter over the last 12 hours. Now, why is my schedule running every 6 hours, but I'm filtering every 12 hours? Because there's a slight overlap, slight delay, where I might actually miss some posts. So I figure I can filter by the last 12 hours, and if it exists in my database, we're good to go. We don't have to worry about it, but at least I'm grabbing all of the posts. I'm not missing any, okay? We'll go ahead and test that filter really quick. And we see it found 7 posts. So I'm actually going to pin that. So that's P on the keyboard for you guys. And now we have 7 items, which are 7 different posts that we got from that original subreddit, which is beautiful. So if we check the filter here, we have a really kind of complicated inline JavaScript. It's really not that complicated, but it looks complicated. Basically, this is just taking the timestamp from Reddit, okay, turning it into a date object. And this is saying that, okay, whatever time it is now, minus 6 hours is the cutoff time. So whatever is after that point, we can filter by, okay? And of course, I will have this in my blog for you guys to download, so don't worry about that. So now we have 7 really cool posts that we can work with, okay? Now we're gonna loop over those posts, obviously. For each post, we need to create a response, and we're going to check if it exists in the database. Now, I use Postgres nodes instead of Supabase nodes because it allows me to do complex SQL queries. It allows me to do upsert in a way that the Supabase node does not, and it is actually faster because when you ping data on Supabase, it'll go from your server to the Supabase API to the database. That's cool, but this way we go our server to the database. We skip Supabase entirely, which makes it faster, so it's a little bit better. So all we're doing is trying to select the post if it exists by title, and this will return true or false, okay? And so if it's false, right, then it will go through here, and if it's true, it'll go back down, okay? Which basically means is if it exists, we can skip it because we've already processed this post, and if it doesn't exist, we'll continue. And so that if looks like this. If JSON.title exists is false. Okay, and you can see as title exists, so we're grabbing this right here, is the same as this right here. And that's true false. It's a Boolean, okay? Now we finally get to the fun part where we start messing with AIs, right? So here we have just a normal AI agent to check to see if the post is good. I have a quick prompt. So the prompt basically says is your job is to check to see if the post is a meaningful post that we can reply to. I tell it a little bit about me and the things that I do and the technologies that I know. I actually got myself banned out of a Reddit because I taught somebody how to get past the CAPTCHA, and it was a scraping Reddit, and apparently you're not supposed to do that. Anyways, I just kind of tell it like the general things that I know, and I tell it needs to be true or false. I give it the output format, response, true, reason, blank. So the reason why I told it to give me a reason is because I wanted to see why it was marking certain posts as true or false. I use that to edit the prompt. Now I don't really need it. I could probably delete it. But if ever I want to go back and troubleshoot and see like, why did it think this was an interesting post? I can go and see the reason why. So I think that's important. Then I added the post title. And so you can literally just go from loop over items and grab it. I'll show you guys how that looks. Let me go ahead and get some test data for you. Remember, again, P to pin. Okay, all the data is pinned now. So we can click test workflow. And we can see it tested way more than we wanted it to. But that's fine. We'll go ahead and stop it there. So now we have some test data. Yeah, your job is to see if this post can be... Yeah, so we can see down here, it's grabbing the information from here. It's grabbing the title and then the post content, right, from the post. So, and it's all you have to do is just drag and drop, just so you guys know. But yeah, and then of course require a specific output format. Click on the output parser and add a structured output parser, which I already added. and it looks like this. It's the same as what I put in the prompt. Literally, this is just JSON. I want a response, true or false, and a reason why. And it says this post is relevant to topics like blah, blah, blah. And then for the model, I'm just using GPT-4o Mini. It's good enough for reasoning on this. It's cheap, so it's pretty good. And then here we go. If the post is good, if it's true, then we're going to push it to the database. If it's not true, we're still pushing it to the database. And of course, this is going to show red because it was true, so it got no data. The difference is we want is good right here to be false. Why? Because the post isn't good enough to post, right? So if we open up our Supabase right here and we check our table, on the Reddit table, here we have all the posts, the different information, right, from the post. And we have is good right here. So if the post is not good, we'll still save it to the database, but we'll just let them know, hey, you know, like, don't generate any AI response to this post because it's not good. Why would we spend money on it? It doesn't make sense. We just put that as true or false. Beautiful. And if that errors, which it almost never does, but if it does, I just said, hey, go to the next one. You know, there's hundreds of posts happening. We don't have to catch every single one. It's not the most important thing in the world. So if it errors, just continue. You know. Also on the AI agent, it's important that you put retry on fail, and I put 2 times, and I told it to wait 5 seconds. And then on error stop workflow, it's never errored on this node, so you can take that as it may. I've been running this for a while. I've ran this a lot. So next, here I get the lists of all my videos. I get all the names of all my videos. Of course, for you guys, this doesn't make any sense. Right, so just kind of ignore this part. Here I'm turning it into a really good list of all of the titles that I use. I put a wait node here because sometimes I was getting rate limits on the API because I have a lot of automations working at the same time. So I just put a wait here so I didn't get a rate limit, right? And then here I put create post reply. Okay, now this prompt again is going to completely change. You guys cannot use this prompt and it will not work well for you guys because you guys are not me. But I just told it that it's me. I told it my experience. I told it some of the industries I've worked in. I told it what kind of voice it should talk in, you know. I told it how it should comment, what kind of emotions it should be using, how it should support people. I told it that it can research and craft replies. And then I told it what tools to use. Now this comes from the MCP node that we made, the MCP workflow that we made before. Okay, we have our browse web tool and I tell it how to respond to the tool and what the tool is. Okay, our video transcripts, cool. Now I said use it to search through the transcripts, tool and query. And I said when using knowledge from a video, you can use the link to the video if it makes sense. Right, so that it mentions the video, but not always like a spammy way, right? Just when it makes sense and it really provides value. And here is a list of all videos that might be relevant because I don't want it to just like start looking through my videos for everything. So I'm like, okay, look, here's the titles of all my videos. If one of these titles makes sense, then start looking through the knowledge base and try to find more information about that video. That's basically how it's going to work. And then the Austin history is, like I said, the knowledge base. Tens of hours of me talking and transcripts of me, right? And history of me and my projects and stuff. And I tell it to use that to be more personable and whatnot. I say choose the most relevant tool before answering if a tool is needed and wait for the result because I was having a problem where it was like not waiting long enough to get the results. And I said once you have enough information, craft a reply using this format. And then of course this is the same as the structured output parser, which I'll show you in a second. I said don't use the tools if you don't need to. If this post is somebody sharing their work, just provide value. Don't be overbearing with encouragement. You know, I just put some limits on it. I said use dude and bro a lot because that's kind of how I talk, you know. And try to mimic my voice if you can. And then I said ideal replies are between 50 and 150. Maximum reply length is 300. Why? Well, because I was getting these really long, amazing replies, but people are not going to spend time reading that. So they were a little bit too long. So I told it to shorten it up. It's been doing better. And then I give it the title of the Reddit post and the content, which I grabbed from here. You know, I just grab the title, just drag and drop, and the post information, which this one doesn't have any, but Some of them do, right? And then I put required specific output format with an output parser. You click on that, structured output parser, right? This one just looks like this. It's just reply. Again, you can find this on my blog. Then I connected as a tool the MCP client, and I put the URL to the MCP client. Now, this URL you can find over here. So if I jump back to the MCP workflow, and I just click on the server trigger, the URL is right here. And then for this one, I used Claude. Why did I use Claude? Well, I use Claude because I find Claude writes better English and better copy. So I thought it would be better. Now with this node, I did put retry on fail at least 3 times. It does fail sometimes to generate good responses. So I tell it to try to reply a couple times. If it doesn't, I say chill out for like a minute and then update that this post isn't a good post and let's move on. And if it does make the reply, we just update the post. We match it by ID. We grab the ID from the previous nodes, from this one right here. This one returns an ID. So we just grab that and we put that here. And the post reply that we grabbed from the AI agent. And yeah, that's basically it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys would like some more help with N8N, I am hosting a free community to help you guys out. There we have challenges to earn some real cash money. I also answer any question that gets posted in the group. So if that's something you're interested in, please check out the link down below. And you guys have a wonderful day.